Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome. This is Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike, and we kick start today with the first daily on our desk. Is from the Vanguard newspaper. But just before we get into that, we would love that you be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Very so honored to have with me right here in my studios Mr. Shodende Peters, a public affairs analyst, a development communicator. Good morning to you, Mr. Peters, and welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you so very much for your time.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So let's kickstart today with the Vanguard newspaper, Saturday Vanguard that is. We have a litany of interesting stories here. PDP crisis, combatants, strategies for Monday make or mar neck. Wike Makinday's camp divide on zoning. We have another very interesting one. So very interesting. ADC, a grand deception. Dati Ahmed of all people. Wow. Electoral malpractice, we fear the worst in 2027. And that's coming from Nigerians and other interesting matters. But Mr. Peters, I'd love us to start with Wike and his very good friend, former good friend, Makinde. PDP crisis, combatants, strategies for Monday make or mar a neck. What's happening here?
Yes, I don't understand what you mean by former friends.
They were good allies, good friends, and all.
Of course, I know they were part of the G5 who left, who remained in PDP but worked against the candidate of the PDP in the 2023 himself, Wike, Makinde, Otom,
Ikpeazu,
is it Gwanyi or which of them?
Yes,
so they were together, formed it, and made sure that Bola Tinubu emerged the president of the country. So what I'm trying to say is that you see politicians trading insults, trading banters, doesn't mean that they are not friends. They are still allies, they are still in the same PDP. What Makinde is just telling Wike is, let us have a party first before we begin to talk about where to zone our candidates. Don't be too much in a rush, because Wike had said earlier, tell me which zone is going to produce the candidate of this our party before I begin to do anything. If you are zoning to the north, let me quickly remove myself from this equation. Bring it to the south, then I will work with you guys. And if you are bringing it to the south, where in the south, let me know.
But Wike is deceitful. Wike is deceitful. Whether he goes to the south, whether he goes to his village or Obiakpo, the fact remains that he's still working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu with the APC. So of what use is it? Telling him where it will be zoned to.
Hold on. If PDP feels that Wike is involved in anti-party activities by working for Bola Tinubu, they have a choice, and it's easy. Just remove him from the party, sack him. Before he took up the appointment, he showed the letter to the world. I wrote my party, and I will not be the first person from opposition party. Since 1999 it started, the Bola Ige and Co, they were AD and worked with Obasanjo in PDP. So it is not new to Nigeria that you have people from opposition party work with a current government. He wrote the party, and he said my party had blessed me and said go. And don't forget, during those periods, Wike was a major financier of PDP when everybody left. Atiku was in Dubai. Everybody had left that party. It was Wike that was putting chairmen there, running the party with his money, with reverse money,
for
with
his interest,
whatever interest.
Yes.
Where were others when Wike was running around and doing all these things in PDP? So it's like a politician putting his mouth where his money is. You see, when politicians are trading all these insults, or you see all these things for them, as far as I'm concerned, I really do not look at I don't become emotional, because for politicians there's nothing like moral. Put that in the dustbin. First things first is a game. This is how we play our cards. If you want me to support you, play a card like this. If you know you can't play the card like this, I will not support you. But I will not leave this party. He said APC is a cancerous party. And Wike has not joined APC. He said he would rather remain in PDP. I think if PDP finds Wike as a liability, all they need to do is to just not to let the guy go. It's nothing too much for them to do.
Well, theoretically, it's very easy to say, but pragmatically, we know it is not possible.
Why is it not possible?
He has 90% of those remaining in the PDP are his henchmen.
That is what I said.
So why would they remove a financial fund?
What were they looking at when Wike was positioning all these people and running that party alone? People like Fayose, people like who else will tell you how much people Wike have been? Even the former governor of Edo State.
Yes.
Said it. When he betrayed Wike said, I know how much I did. Obaseki. To get you here, you are very ungrateful. You see, Wike spent so much time and energy in PDP. I'm not saying that is the best. I'm not saying his ways are clean and pure or I'm a spokesman to Wike, not at all. But look at things politically.
Yeah.
If it were you have a house and you are taking care of the house, within it, putting security, painting, doing everything. Suddenly people now said, no, you have to live in the security house. You can't decide who stays in the bedroom. You will fight back.
But must you bomb the party? Must you implode it?
You see it as burning. You see it as imploding.
Yes.
It's just like the example I give now. People now told you that you have to live in the security house. And they want to occupy the main house. You, as somebody who has taken care of this house forever, what would you do? Would you wake up and say, because I don't want to burn this house, I'll just be living in the security house on the BQ. I'll not know what is going on. Politics is not like that. You face it head on. You won't be a coward if you want to be a successful politician. Check all the history of successful, even up till the current president. You face it. It is my time, Emilio Con. You face it head on. Whether it is moral or not, they do things that they feel is best for their own personal interest. That is politics. That is democracy.
All right, beautiful. So let's move from one, I would love to call it chaos, to another one. 2027, ADC, a grand deception. That's coming from Dati Ahmed, the runner to the Labour Party. What does this mean?
Dati Ahmed has, I think it was on a live TV with channels, and he was saying that go and check all the people in the ADC. Well, as a fallout of the last by-election, they found out that APC still came first.
But we all know the reason now.
PDP was next, then APGA and some other parties. And they were asking him, what do you think about the last election? And it is like, ADC is just a consortium of failed politicians who are, they worked with former President Buhari and they ran the country aground. Now, because they are not close to power, they are regrouping. A party where you have people like El Rufai, Atiku, and Co. That's what they're saying. You cannot, there are politicians who have failed this country at one time or the other. So they are regrouping together, cannot bring anything for Nigeria. He's not looking at them as, he's looking at what they can do for the country. It's because they have done it before. What have they delivered to the country? Is it the type of loan El Rufai left Kaduna with? Is it the type of accusation on Atiku's neck that Obasanjo said? Is it what Amechi did as transport minister or what he did in Rivers that Wike makes noise about all the time? So he's saying that all these people, they are just gathering together to wrestle for power. And they have no value after they get the power. So he doesn't believe ADC is here to save Nigerians or remove Nigerians from any shackles that it is. He believes they are just there for their own personal interest.
But don't you think this is scary? Because when people like this, opinion leaders and the people who have been there actively are saying these sort of things, it means we are left with what we have, which is still not good enough for Nigerians.
You see, the guy is protecting his own side of politics.
What other side?
He knows very well within him
that
this ADC vehicle moved by Atiku is basically in the interest of Atiku and it would not serve. He wants a situation whereby, he said it in that interview, I remain a Labour person. I'm a Peter Obi boy. We will run this thing together. He wants a situation whereby people even believe he's a placeholder for Peter Obi in Labour Party. He wants a situation whereby maybe Peter Obi, come back, leave these guys alone. Come here, let's face our own vehicle. Let's run with our own vehicle. Don't go and join these guys. These guys have nothing. They have run this country aground. Come here, let's remain here. Who will fight for Labour Party if everybody moves to ADC? So I think that is on the right track. Speak for yourself. If you think ADC is not the right party to go, speak for it. You don't expect somebody who is in Labour Party to be talking in favor of ADC. So that is not doing anything out of the ordinary. I feel he's just protecting his party and his own interest. He still has the vice presidential slot with Peter Obi if they remain in Labour together. Of course, yes.
For the
so
second
what do you
time.
expect him to do? If he goes and join Peter Obi in ADC, there's nothing for that.
Nothing for him.
Nothing. So when you are thinking for politicians, you first, why is this person saying this thing? You read, you study, then you know that, okay, his interest lies in Labour Party and not anywhere else. He can't get to, in ADC, is he going to try to outshine El Rufai, Aregbesola, Amechi, David Mark, or who is he going to start dragging with? He can never get anything close to a vice presidential slot in ADC. So let him blow his trumpet now in Labour Party and make sure he discredits ADC. That's politics for you.
All right, so let's see how this goes, though, from one fire to another. This time around to the south of Nigeria, Delta 2027, Oborowori, Omoagege, Flex, Omozo. We expected this a very long time when Sheriff Oborowori connected himself to the center, hoping that connection would help him. And it's actually very scary that sub-sovereign states that are supposed to be autonomous, right, are beginning to so much rely on the federal government for them to win votes in their community of domain. Because if not for fear, why would Oborowori, crisscross to the APC, and now he's battling it with Omoagege?
Okay, yeah, we all know Delta State Governor Sheriff used to be a PDP member. In fact, he took over from Okowa. Okowa was the vice presidential candidate of the PDP. He ran with Atiku Abubakar. And from the way things are, in the politics of today, you could see governors moving into APC, left, right, and center. And they know the man in power now. The fear is not about the people who will vote for them or who will not vote for them. Politicians care less about the people or your voting pattern. What they care more about is this position. How will I retain it? Most of them have option. Join the APC, because from the news we got, if you join the APC, APC will automatically make you the leader of the party in that state. If you're a first-time governor, they will give you the ticket to run for a second term. You have the power to choose your senators and your House of Rep people, even your assembly members. But let the voting pattern be in favor of APC. If you are a second-time governor, we will look for a position for you either in the center or in the Senate. You will also still be able to choose your senatorial people and your House of Rep. You see, the carrot dangled in front of these guys. If I were also a governor, what do you think I will do? Is it not to be in that seat and give dividend of democracy to my people? They will be like, whichever vehicle I use, as long as I get to my destination, it's irrelevant. You see all these political parties you're looking at, to politicians, it is just a vehicle.
But to the
they
people,
don't have a political party. It is, you see,
but to the people,
it
is erosion of democracy.
It
doesn't make any sense, really.
It is you and me that have a political party. Politicians don't have religion. They don't have tribe. They don't have party. Everything for them is a means to an end. The end is power. The end is the resources. So how they get to that end, to them, is secondary. They can blow hot in the morning and blow cold in the night. That is who they are. Sheriff has only moved to where it would give him comfort to return as a second-time governor.
So you mean that if he had
center.
stayed continuously with the PDP, he would not have won the second term? Is that what you're saying?
By his calculation, he feels that, okay, I don't belong to the center. In fact, my master, Okowa, has moved to APC.
But all know the reason why he moved to the APC.
Has moved to the, whatever reason you say.
We all know
Has moved to
the
the
reason
APC,
he moved to the
and
APC.
has left my party.
Yes.
Even some of my senators have moved. I can see some of my governor friends have moved because this party is doing well at the center.
He's doing well at the center.
Yes, as
According to him.
According to them.
Yes.
That was the excuse, that we cannot allow ourselves to be disconnected from a center that is doing so well. Let us gather it together and make sure that everything. That is what politicians will tell you.
But that is
So
supposed
trying
to, yes.
to say, are you saying that he must remain in PDP to do well for the people? No. You can do well for the people, whichever party you have.
Beautiful.
What the citizens of Delta should look after is that, what will we get as dividends of democracy from these people? Like the president has said, look at your governors. Now they have more money. Follow up with them. They have this money.
And he did say, he did not mention, look at your governors who are members of the APC. He just said, look at your governors, no matter which party they belong to.
The revenue formula is not shared based on political party.
Exactly.
It's not shared based on all of them, whether you're APC, PDP, or they have the money. They have the money. The federal government, last report we had, they shared about 2 trillion. We've never had that in a very long time. 2 trillion. Shared by federal government and state. So,
well, it doesn't really make any sense though, because if you reduce it to $1 to 1,500 naira, it's still half of that money.
You see,
yes.
I've heard a lot about that.
Yes.
Okay. The value of what you are giving me now, compared to the exchange rate, it's not as valuable as what we used to have back.
Even back in the days during
yes.
Muhammad Buhari.
What brought about that position,
yes,
is because when you are trying to correct an error in the system, of course people will pay for it. Most especially the citizens will bear some brunt. The only problem I have is that the people at the top are not taking it. They are not taking the way. For example, you see revenue mobilization allocation and fiscal committee saying that wants to come
hoping to up the salaries.
Guys, these are not the next things to do in a country where people are, even state governors that promise they will pay 75,000 minimum wage have not even started paying. And you want to increase that of a man collecting 1.5 million, knowing fully well that his allowances are far in excess of millions.
Just most recently, Adelabu launched a multi-billion house.
Which minister is sitting in the office earning less than 1 million? We all know the truth. So I feel that the ruling class have not covered themselves in glory when it comes to taking care of our people. We all agree on that. So, and the onus lies on the people, by the power of their vote, to choose where their bread will be buttered. So that is the only power the people have. If it is not working for you, you can also do a mass movement and revolt. We've seen revolts that have changed governments all over the world, everywhere. So what we are saying, so that we don't miss the point, is when all these politicians move from one party to the other to react, it is basically after their own personal interest. When they want to vote is when they come to you and be begging you, go around, travel everywhere, and they share t-shirts, share this thing. Once they get to that seat, every move you see they make, especially when it is political, is basically for personal interest.
Well, Mr. Peters,
we should all know that and stop getting worried. Too many responses when you see all those things. Tomorrow, if I hear Peter Obi has left ADCO and is now joining APCO because somebody has promised him a presidential ticket, I will not be anywhere near shocked also because all of them are there for what? First, personal interest.
Well, I just sincerely hope that we are not setting a bad precedence, because a student of political science in school who is taught the rudiments of politics, would not have this sense that politics is anyhow. You can move wherever it is you want to, because we are actually setting, it's interesting now, right? But we're setting a bad precedence for the future.
I don't understand what you mean. If I am in a party A,
yes,
and I feel that party A, for example, Obi was in Abga, he now decides that this Abga is too small a party. It's like a regional party.
yes.
Let me move to a PDP, which is a bigger party. And he got a vice presidential slot in PDP. Is that a bad move?
But should he do it without consequences? That is the question.
I don't understand what you mean by consequences. He has his rights under the law to move anywhere.
So maybe we need to adjust our electoral act. Maybe
so what would the electoral act cannot infringe on your own right of association. You have a right of association. If you say, I don't want this father again, I disown him. The law cannot say by force, by fire.
That is your father.
No. You don't infringe on people's rights in trying to look good at your own self. It's basically politics. If you feel that this APC party is not good, at a point in time, people were tearing their APC. Obasanjo had torn PDP's card before. People have turned their APC card and moved elsewhere. The law has nothing against that. You are free. It's freedom of association. You can be anywhere you want to be. The law permits you to do that. So, and for politicians, they will always go to where their bread is buttered.
All right, beautiful. So let's move on to the Punch newspaper. And we have less than 5 minutes to do that. We have the big story here. UTME, how we breach CBT centers. Servers for candidates coming from hackers. There's two writers to that particular story. Compromised operators behind exam fraud, say mercenaries, and proprietors association reject generalization. Mr. Peters, I do not know, but back in the days when we wrote WAEC, it was a scary situation for students. You know that if you don't study well, you would fail. And you're already preparing to resit the exams the next year. But right now, we have a situation where both the proprietors of schools, the parents of the students themselves, and there are lots of hungry hackers all over the place waiting for somebody to just give them small money. And you see a student who had never studied anything getting the biggest mark. What is our situation like in this condition?
If I begin to describe what had happened to the educational system of this country in the last 20, 30 years, it will be a sad tale, because this used to be the strength of this country when it started. At least when I was still in secondary school, I still had white teachers from Sri Lanka,
India,
all those Indians, even Ghanaians.
Ghanaians,
who came to Nigeria to teach. We had students from abroad come to UI to school.
Wow.
Yes. We added so much that South Africa of today, sometimes when I see all this xenophobia, I begin to laugh. Nigeria stood for that country. A whole lot of their first set of, they came to school in Nigeria for free.
Yeah, because the blacks were denied
they came here for
tertiary education.
Free, come. When we were in school, you know, a whole lot of activities, whether sporting activities, educational activities, to make sure. Then how many private schools do we have? But one way or the other, government killed. When you start having people in power that also have schools, of course, you know, they will kill the one that government is running so that their own can do what? And you know, education is a derived demand. People keep looking for it everywhere because, you know, once you get this education, you'll move high in life. So they feel the population is there. They will look for me. When you start seeing everybody, every corner, private school, here and there, and not because they want the education to be good, it's because there is money in this thing. Go and see proprietors. proprietress. See the schools they are building. People take big loans in excess of billions to build schools in Lekki, Via, Ikoyi, everywhere there, to attract money. So, and you cannot, where education is not controlled, when it becomes an item for profit, all this type of news is what you will see. Because you don't expect parents who have paid you maybe 3 million in every term, and you now come. When we were in primary, secondary school, we used to have position first, second, third.
Yes.
Now there's nothing like that.
Yeah, everybody passes.
Everybody will just go. So you don't expect to say their words have failed. When it comes to their WAEC, most of their exams, what do? It's a controlled environment. They control them in such a way whereby these guys will pass. And at the end of the day, if it is the top league of schools, they know they don't do admission into Nigeria. You go and sort your life abroad. If you have done well, it's you and your parents. But if you remain in this system, a friend was telling us about the interview had with somebody who had said, okay, I read, let me make an example. I read medicine.
Yes.
And it was a job interview, and they're asking you, which are the longest bone in the body? Which one is the biggest vein in the body? And I said, see, that medicine, I really didn't want to read it. It's my parents that made me to read that medicine, this, that. That was what the person was saying.
Wow.
Didn't even know the basics of the course. The person went again, okay, your project in school, tell me about it. What did you... The fellow didn't even have an idea of what the project was about. It is as terrible as that. You see, I don't know what the government is going to do about the educational system, but until the government wins back school from private sector, we will continue to have this madness.
Is it ever possible to win that?
Until government has a policy on how to take care of teachers the way they are taking care of doctors, we would have problems. You can't be paying a teacher minimum wage of 75,000 naira and you expect him to teach 30 students in this class, 70 in that one, this one. You put him in charge of about 100 students and you are paying him 70,000. That is madness. You will never attract the right type of people into that job. People who go to teaching are people who are not lucky elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You don't get the best. Teachers who trained us were people who wanted to be teachers, and they were trained teachers. Until tomorrow, some things they taught you, you will still have it in your brain.
Yes.
So trying to make an headline, of course, hackers will do their job. All for hackers is profit. Hack a system, release result or change result, and they profit their own money, they go. It's online, nobody knows me. Yes. But all those things are possible because the educational system is already in a mess. If students are taught the best way they are supposed to be taught, you will not need to, parents will not need to look for hackers, or hackers will not have anybody to sell questions or help change results. It's because they know that there is a market for their business. That is why you see them in the system. If there's no demand, there'll be no supply.
Very, very true. It's actually very funny that we're saying some of these things, but it's scary because there used to be a time when University of London, I would love to believe, actually started University College Ibadan as a place where they had to send in their medical doctors to come for trainings and all of that. So this is where we were, many decades ago. Unfortunately, what we have today is a debased society, a debased educational system.
Nigeria is still training doctors for the rest of the world.
For the rest of the world.
Still. So you see,
but how good are the doctors we are training for the rest of the world?
Why do you think you go to hospitals abroad, you find almost everywhere Nigerian doctors there? You see,
so which means we're still having it right? Is that what it means?
There are still some institutions, because of their background, because of their legacy, they will still try their own very best. But when you have private institutions now have outnumbered the so-called public institutions. Of course, as if not recently that we had sanity in the university system. Almost half of our lecturers have relocated.
But the private ones are actually doing quite well.
The private ones are doing quite well. In which area? And
in almost every area. Tech, medicine.
And how many of them? You see, it is becoming more of a competition. Is that religious owned schools?
Exactly.
This one owns this one. Let me go and also start. They must not know that we have not started. Or friends, my friend has this school business. Why will I not have? Okay, if this president has a university in Ota, me too, I can have a university in Adamawa, and it's become a status symbol. When the government met at the last FEC, and the Minister of Education, Alausa, was talking that we are no longer admitting or licensing new universities. One of the reasons why he said so was that go to some of these schools, one building is what they call a university. 800 students and over 1,000 workers. Is that supposed to be a school? Not even supposed to be a secondary school. The quality, the value, the person started it because others too have done what? They have started. I have a friend, his name is Henry. He can get me a license. Education is not what you toy with. There is vast money in education. Vast money. But if you don't run it well, the money, rather than rotate around the government, who goes to all this private sector and all this, that's where it will end up. And the private sector is milking it.
As much as.
They are milking it as much as. Nobody is saying private sector should not invest in a business. But you should be competing
with the public
sector. I should be able to say, okay, some of us went to public secondary schools now. Can we take our children to public secondary schools? That's it. What happened? So until we begin to retrace our steps back to that socialist idea, a communist idea does not care. A communist idea abroad now, there are some countries, they do, your children go to school, they do 2-3 courses. They don't have time for all this plenty, no maths again. There's calculator, there's computer. Why are you teaching anybody maths? It's useless as far as they are concerned. Or God, what do you want to be in life? Let's focus straight. Projects, science. Let's do things that make sense, not all this run around. And so Nigeria has a long way to go when it comes to this sector. And I hope and pray that the type of attention we give to oil and gas, that we give to telecoms, we at least pay half of it to education.
Well, we just hope so. With our nephrologist turned Minister of Education, who has been on the satellite for a very long time, and we just hope that things will get better, because that is the most important thing. Ghana, as at 2024, made about $2 billion from education, and most of that money came from Nigerians who went to Ghana to school in different tertiary institutions.
Yeah, sanity prevails.
Capital flight.
Yeah, sanity prevails in that. I told you, there's vast money in education. Nigerians spent in excess of about $2 or $3 billion looking for admission in foreign schools, UK, US, Norway, Greece, countries that they even go there and suffer. They will still pay top dollar to get there.
And this money that should have been spent.
This is money that should be within the system.
Very sad. Well, Mr. Peters will still be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. Fears grow over 2027 polls as electoral violence and rigging persist. In the Beta Steel Enterprise Weekend, please don't go anywhere.
Wow, this place is hot.